So Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo had a sit down with Aib Abdikadir on Citizen TV's JKL, and they're opening up, just recounting on some of the traumatizing and torturous torment that Seveni put them through. And they detail that they were abducted by the Uganda's army. They were being held at a secret military location. And I remember the government the government of Kenya tried to do each and everything to ensure that they are released. They reached out to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They even reached out to the courts in Uganda. The courts ruled that, they have no clue about who Bob and Nicholas Oyo were. But it just turned out that Museveni was the one who was holding them in exile. Now, on the sit down that Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo had with Citizen TV's Ayub Abdikadir, he details that he had to go on a hunger strike. And this hunger strike was not just to deny himself food for the sake of fighting for his freedom, but it was in prayer and supplication for the release in exile. I want you to listen to the bite and then we're going to pick up.
Could see the reality. There was no sign of us getting out. The military has denied they're with us. The police don't know where we are. The judiciary has had a habeas corpus which has been dismissed in court. So all factors lead that to a point that you're not going to be released soon. And then I turned on to prayer and fasting, and that works miracles as well. We are here with you, and I thank God, above all, I thank God for us being here.
And Nick,
that's literally prayer and fasting. And one thing about fasting is that it always works. I kid you not. At some point, fasting has worked for me. And I think it's the best thing to do when you're believing and trusting God for something, or the universe, or for something to go through, a project, a person, a situation to change. Fasting always works miracles. And you can see it has worked wonders for Bob Njagi. So that shows that prayer works. But also this tells you a story, the abduction of Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo. It just shows the solidarity and how we value our democracy right here as Kenya, as Kenyans at large. And I believe that's something that Yoweri Museveni and Tanzania Suluhu are afraid of, because in the conversation, Bob is actually opening up and saying in the army they are being asked if they are going to export Kenyan Gen Zs to Uganda to protest. And one thing that I know for sure, Samia Suluhu and Yoweri Museveni are afraid of Kenyan Gen Zs. They're afraid because the Kenyan Gen Zs are furious. They are outraged. They are aggressive. They are informed. They know who they are, and they know what they want in life, and they know how to go for it. So you can't lie them. You can't tell them something different. And what happened on the 25th of June, 2024, every president in the East African bloc is literally scared and afraid of that. And that's why they kept on asking. So Bob was actually recounting and saying, that would have actually been a dislike. What do you mean we're going to export Kenyan Gen Zs to your country? Does that mean that your people are weak and they can't fight for their own freedoms and rights? So I found it to be really interesting, because most of these presidents are afraid. Even when you look at what Samia Suluhu is trying to just scapegoat and paint the events that are happening in this country and shift the blame to us Kenyans, it just shows the amount of fear that these people have. And that's why even me too, I'd be afraid of Kenyan youth, because I was in those protests in 25th of June last year, and the young men and women who came to those protests, they came ready to die. And you'd see people say, Nipige, niue, shoot me now, kill me. These were people who are ready to lose their lives. And I remember even in Sabasaba, people did eulogies. They even deposited money to morticians and morgue attendants, or wafanye kila kitu just in case they die. And I remember people carrying that placard saying, we are not our ancestors, we will F you up. I'm not you what? This is not, like, the amount of fearlessness Kenyan youth have is just indescribable and just peculiar. And that's why I believe there's an outburst of gagging dissent and just silencing any kind of protest and picketing across the East African bloc. And that's why some of these laws are being, carved and curated to just gag dissent, which eventually will end up exploding in their faces, because people will be pushed out of their hibernation, and they will still head to the streets anyways, because it's about democracy.